Some of you guys are going to really hate me after this video. Some of you guys are probably even going to unsubscribe. Now, as you guys saw in the thumbnail, what we're going to be talking about is Googan baits. Now, I honestly didn't think this was really controversial anymore. I had done a series of polls on my community tab, and the hate for Googan baits was unreal. Now, even in some shorts, I was just filming some hacks and modifications that people could use, and I just happened to use a Googan crankbait for demonstration purposes, and I get comments like, "Don't trust this guy, don't use these modifications, this guy buys or uses Googan baits," and it's just like, what? Like, it's one thing to have an opinion on a certain brand, and I totally get that. I totally respect everyone's opinions. But I feel like it's just another thing to say, don't trust what this guy is saying purely because he uses Googan baits. Now, I have my own opinions on Googan baits, and we're going to get into those. But first, I'd like to hear from you guys. Comment down below what your stance is on Googan baits and why you think there's so much hate. I've got a couple of theories that we're going to dive into. The number one hate comment that I see about Googan baits has to be their durability with soft plastic lures. I have fished with nearly every soft plastic brand under the sun, such as Strike King, Zoom, Z-Man, Berkeley, Big Bite Baits, Yamamoto, you name it. And what I have learned from this is that action and durability do not go hand in hand. If you're going to have more durability, your action is going to go down. If you have more action in your bait, that durability is probably going to be less. Now, when I talk about this, I am excluding companies like Z-Man and other plastics that use Elastec. Those are extremely durable while giving off great action as well. The reason why this is because if your bait is pretty durable, that plastic is going to be pretty stiff, which allows it to be durable. However, it's going to impede the action because that stiffness does not allow the lure to work as naturally and give off as much action as maybe if it were softer. Those softer baits are going to be less durable, but they provide more action because it doesn't have that strong, stiff plastic impeding the action. To show you guys what I mean, we've got a Googan Lunker Log and a Yum Dinger. Now, the Yum Dinger is going to be more durable, but if you look at the underwater footage, the Lunker Log that may not be as durable is going to have more action, which is probably going to lead to more fish. Maybe the people who rip on the Googan bait's durability just don't really understand that. They haven't fished with multiple kinds of plastics, and it just isn't apparent that to have good action, sometimes you really just have to sacrifice that durability. Now, before we get into the rest of the video, if you guys despise Googan baits, go ahead and subscribe. If you really like Googan baits, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. It was worth a shot. In all seriousness, subscribing and hitting the thumbs up is really appreciated and really helps me out and helps me make videos like this one every single week. Now, some of you are saying, "Oh, I know that durability and action don't go hand in hand." Another comment that I see is that Googan baits are just way too expensive for how fast you go through them. And that is a valid point. But here we have got the Zoom flukes that go for, I don't know, roughly $3.50, $4, depends on where you're at in the country and what your stores are selling them for. And here we have got the Googan Dart. So same model. This is about $6. This one is roughly 2 times the same expense as this one. All Googan baits have something that Zoom has nothing of. And what that is the clamshell package. The clamshell package allows the baits to stay flat and secure in their packages. You look at something like the Zoom flukes where they don't have anything, those baits are going to get ruffled up, they're going to get bent. If you go to the store on the shelves, you can see sometimes there are baits that have messed up tails, which really impedes the action. The purpose of these clamshells is to avoid that, so you can take the bait out of the package and it's going to be straight and run true every single time. Now, personally, I am not the biggest fan of the clamshell package just because I think it adds extra litter and it's more plastic that's really unneeded. Look at the price. Keep in mind that you're not paying $6 all for that bait. You're also paying $6 for that added packaging. It all adds up to that total expense. Now, while that clamshell does not justify the $3 extra expense on the Googan baits, there is a way to kind of cheat the system. This is how I buy all my soft plastics, and this is how I encourage you guys as well. What I do is I'll go online and I will search whatever model I'm looking for. I will just type in Googan baits to Google. I'll then hit shopping, and on the preferences, I will have them sort cheapest to most expensive. This automatically brings up what deals you can find on Googan baits and any other fishing brand or item that you're shopping for as well. Make sure to only buy from trusted websites and don't get scammed. So this is a good example. I clicked on Carl's Bait and Tackle, which is where I get almost all of my fishing lures from. It shows you that, hey, you don't have to pay full price for these fishing products. With all that being said, there are Googan soft plastics that I recommend, and then there are ones that I would definitely say steer clear from. Starting off, the only soft plastic that I can really recommend 100% would be the Googan Lunker Log. I know Googan Baits gets knocked on its durability, but last spring I fished with this color of Googan Lunker Log, the Flamin' Hot, for the first time, and I caught, I don't know if it was 4 or 5 big, decent, healthy smallmouth bass. I still have that lunker log. It lasted me the entire time. Texas rigged, it was very durable. Now, I'm not going to defend all of the soft plastic lures because some of them certainly have their flaws. Primarily models like the Googan Dart, which is their soft plastic jerkbait. If you're Texas rigging the Googan Dart, it tears so easily just at the head. You really need to use a screw lock, and if you don't have any, you're out of luck. And you're just going to rip through them about every other fish. The second one that I really dislike has to be the Googan Radlin Ned. It has a rattle in the chamber, which is really neat, something unique. However, I have had no luck getting that bait to stand up on the bottom. It just flops over, and it's really difficult to draw action out of a lure that does that. I've used different weights of heads, and I've experimented fishing them on different kinds of bottoms, and the result is just always the same. And the third one has to be the Googan Trench Hog. It's a nice idea. It's different than any other bait that's out there in the hog style. However, those appendages are so long and they are so thin, any kind of aggressive panfish or small bass is just going to rip them right off, and it really leaves your bait quite useless. Now, the last kind of category of hate comments that I see regarding Googan Baits is probably those comments saying that Googan Baits just ripped off every other brand of soft plastic. I don't know how someone can really say that one company did that when you look at how many different brands of stick baits there are. There was really only the first one, and that was the Gary Yamamoto Yamasenko. And I don't know how you can say Googan just rips off every other company when really every single brand of stick bait was ripped off the Gary Yamamoto. And I don't know if this is just because Googan is kind of the newest brand to have this much popularity, and if people just dislike that or what. So I don't, maybe you guys down below can comment and help me figure it out. That's really going to wrap it up for me today. Go ahead, comment down below what your opinions are on Googan Baits and tell me why you think that it gets so much hate. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video.